how's it going? Today it is Saturday, which means it is Parkrun day, and today we are off to Severn Bridge Parkrun. So Severn Bridge Parkrun is located to the south of Wales in Chepstow, and it basically starts just inside of Wales. You run across the Severn Bridge and you actually end up entering into England, the Gloucestershire and Avon area. Then you turn around and come back into Wales and back to Chepstow. So it's a simple out and back one lap course, all on hard standing concrete path. So you don't need to bring your trail shoes, road shoes, it's perfectly acceptable. And another thing to note is that buggies and prams are allowed, however dogs are prohibited from this course, and there are no toilets nearby currently as the football ground ones are closed. If you're on the 5k app, you can see that it does say that it is slightly hilly. Now I would say that is the case, however it is definitely still one that you could get a PB in, as it is a very gradual incline to the centre, then you pass over it and it's a slight decline, and then you head your way all the way back doing the same thing, and there's a little bit at the end which has an incline and decline as well. But to be honest, it's definitely one for your PB as long as you get close to the front, as it just gets very busy. So by very busy I mean there was 338 runners on the day that we went, but also if it is really sunny you can get some amazing views of either side on England and Wales. So I definitely recommend going on a day where it is sunny and no wind at all, because you can get some really nice photos, and it makes it a lot easier to run because the wind can definitely affect this one if it is really breezy, and sometimes I believe that it might get cancelled because of heavy winds as well. Now before we get into the course, if you don't know what a park run is, it is essentially a 5k run which is completely free and ran by a group of volunteers who time and marshal the event. Once you get to the end you get given a finish token which has your position on it, and then you also get emailed an official time as well for your 5k run. So I think it's going to be pretty easy to describe this course. So a summary, it is an out and back course. You can see there's a gradual incline as you get towards the centre at about 3/4 of the way. It then drops and then you go back up that little bit, and then it is all downhill from there. You then come off the bridge towards the end and there's a little bit of a hill back up under through the tunnel under the bridge, and that is where the finish line is. And now let's take a look at the course in a little bit more detail. I mean, there's not going to be much detail to this one to be honest, but you're going to start here at the Wales side of Severn Bridge. You're going to make your way across from an elevation of 32 metres all the way up to the max elevation, which is 51 metres. You then have a little bit further to run, which is slightly downhill. You then do the U-turn back up to where the peak is off the bridge, head your way all the way back down to that 32 metres elevation, and then you're going to drop down a little hill at the end, come back up to, it's quite a steep drop, down to about 15 metres, back up to about 20 metres, and then you run through the tunnel at the end to the finish line, which is located here. So it's quite an easy out there and back, and I can't see anyone getting lost. And now it's time to take a look at some incredible records which have been set by park runners in the past. So the fastest male was Kurt Taylor with a time of 15 minutes and 18 seconds, and the fastest female was Hannah Taunton with a time of 16 minutes and 50 seconds, both incredibly fast. The average number of runners is quite high, as at 242, and then the average sort of time is 29 minutes and 4 seconds, which is a little bit quicker than Pontypool that we did last week. And now let's take a look at some slightly slower stats. That is my stats which we have done so far. So before this course we have ran 40 park runs and done 25 locations, so a quarter of the way through our Cowl Club achievement. The best finish position was 4th, which was at Zaloni Jar in Krakow. You can go and check that video out if you want. My fastest time was Summerdale Pavilion with a time of 22:32, and it goes all the way down to 5 Arches with a time of 23:25. So let's try and knock off 5 Arches this week and get Severn Bridge onto this leaderboard. So before we got going, we all met up at this bottom section by the tunnel. They went through all the course and everything with all the first timers, and then they went through all the milestones and things like that before we made our way up to where the bridge is. So we're going to make our way up there now, and we're off. So the time has actually started here. All the people that are at the front have started running off into the distance towards England. As you can see, we're just trying to get as close to the front that we can get now. So we're stuck behind a lot of people, meaning that the time is ticking down already, and it's already been 17 seconds and we are only just beginning to jog now. This is not the pace that I want to be going at either, so we need to try and slip past some people, but make sure that it is done safely, as this is part run and it is not a race. So we're going to start trying to move past a few people in a second. You can see that the weather was glorious on the day that we went as well. The sun was out, clouds there right and left hand side in the distance, but apart from that there was not really any wind at all. And now we're going to slip onto the left hand side. So I think at the start we sort of, I don't know if it's just a natural thing or whether they did say to stick to the right if you're one of the slower runners, and if you're quicker, keep on the left. So that is how you're going to take over here on this left hand side. You can see all the cars coming over across from England to Wales on the left, but we're now starting to pick it up towards our usual pace now, and hopefully we can start getting closer to that PB time, because that was not a good time to start off with if we do want to get it up towards the top end of that leaderboard. We're now 2 minutes and 6 seconds in. As you can see, we're still struggling a little bit to try and overtake people. Again, we've been blocked off here on this left hand side, so we're going to have to let a few people go past before we can, but it is slightly increasing in gradient as well, ever so slowly, so you don't really notice it, to be honest. But I feel like you don't notice it going up, increasing, but when you come back down you notice that you're going downhill again. I don't know why, and it opens up a lot more as well, so you can see in front of you the actual decline and things like that. But you can see on that right hand side, that is England over there in the distance. Keep your eye out for cyclists as well as they come down. Anyone else can use this bridge as well, so do be careful of public. And there we go, so it's began to open up a bit now, and we can start jogging at the pace which we want to. This is the little island in between England and Wales. I don't actually know what this island is called, someone will have to let me know down in the comment section below. But if you want any other information on this park run, I have got a Strava, so you can check that out in the description below. Give me a follow and you'll see each park run that we do every week. We try to do a different one. We try to do a different one every week as well, so check that out. And you can also like and subscribe to this channel as well if you do enjoy the park run content. I'm just checking to make sure that it is recording because it was a very quick start. But yeah, if you hit that like and subscribe button, we do a park run every week, and you can go and check them all out in the worldwide park run playlist. So the gradient has increased now by about 6, 7, 8 metres since the start, so you can see that it is a very, very gradual incline after we are 5 minutes in. There's one down the right pushing a buggy as well. You do get great views on either side of the bridge, but I wouldn't say this is the most adventurous of park runs. It is literally a straight out and back, but it is great, like we said, for a PB. We are still making our way uphill. We are currently 1.3 kilometres in with a time of 6:27. So if I want to get onto that leaderboard, we do need to start picking up our pace, otherwise we're not going to make it. But we're doing okay now. Since it's opened up a little bit, we've been able to overtake a few other people as well as we try and storm towards the PB time. You can see the halfway point. We're probably about 2/3 of the way across this bridge, and it will start to go downhill slightly as we hit the centre of the camber of the bridge and head down towards the other side. But look at the stunning view there on that right hand side. Now we can see it because we are right up against the rail, which we haven't been for most of it. It's been overtaking, but we're going quite well. I can imagine this being a lot harder with completely different conditions, especially if it's really wet, rainy and wet. That would be horrible. So for anyone that has done it in those sort of horrible conditions, let me know in the comments how you got on as well. But I think it's starting to go downhill potentially now, so I think we may have hit the top end of the bridge, and we're going to start making our way down towards England side before doing a U-turn and heading back to Chepstow. And the person there in first position, I believe, just ran past us there as we hit the 2k mark. So the first kilometre we actually ran in a time of 4:54, and the second we ran at a time of 4:42. So currently we're not doing great if we want to try and get onto that leaderboard, where we need about 4:30 as our pace. So we're going to have to pick it up for these last 3 kilometres, but we've got lots of space in front of us to overtake, to go at our own sort of pace now. So hopefully we can start just picking it up a little bit as we make our way towards that U-turn. And we are almost there, and there's that volunteer right at the end telling us to turn around at that U-turn, and now it's a gradual incline back towards the centre of that bridge. I can imagine without that volunteer it could be a nightmare, because you could end up being in England before you even turn around. So thank you very much to them for volunteering and cheering us on. But we're now heading our way back up to the centre, like I said just then, and back towards Wales. And there we go, that's 3 kilometres, much better there with the time of 4:27 for that kilometre. So we have picked up the pace a little bit, and we should do as well, as it is all downhill from here. So if we can just pick it up, we could potentially get on towards that bottom end of the leaderboard, but I don't see us taking over Somerdale Pavilion at the top with a time of 22:32. We really would have to push it pretty quickly down in the second half, and I don't think I quite have the energy to do that after the little delay that we had at the start. But it is a stunning run, I have to say. The views that you could get, especially in the winter, as the sunrise, if you'd stayed there, if you got there really early, you could probably see sunrise in the summer as well, but you'd be waiting for hours before it even starts. But it is a really nice course to run, and especially in the winter, if you want to see the sunrise, I can imagine it being even more stunning then. But hopefully we can keep this pace up, try and speed up maybe just that little bit more, and we could make it onto the bottom end of our leaderboard. We're at 3.5 kilometres. What was great about this run as well was that as cars were driving past, they were giving us a little beep as well to cheer us on. So it was very motivating, to be honest, to get this park run done. You don't really see too many volunteers for most of it, because obviously it is just a straight out there and back, so you don't really need anyone sort of in the middle of this long stretch. The tail walkers obviously were great, again as usual, standing at the back doing the walking it. And it was great to see some people actually turning up early. So I think if you've done this a few times, you might actually be able to just turn up at the top of the end of the bridge, and so you can start near the front if you're trying to get a PB or whatever. Because obviously when we did it this time, we didn't really know what we were doing, so we needed to stand at the bottom, get all the briefing from the volunteers and all of that. But in the future, maybe if I come back to this one, I would probably start up at the top, wait for everyone else to come up, and then at least I'm towards the front end of the pack, so I can try and beat the time that I got this time. So we are 4 kilometres in, and we actually did that last kilometre in a time of 4 minutes and 19 seconds. So it is going to be close to the leaderboard time. We did have managed to bring it back quite a lot there, especially from the start where we had a 4:54 kilometre. So I'm pretty happy with how I'm getting on right now, and it is all open playing field to run on as well. There's no one going to be crossing us on the left hand side unless it's the public, obviously. But we're doing quite well, and now we are heading our way to the end of the bridge. There's a camera there as well, so I need to be careful not to run too quickly. But hopefully we can get a time of 4:25 or less. 4:25 at 23:25 or less to get us past 5 arches, knocking 5 arches off of the leaderboard. The end of the bridge is in sight, and the elevation has dropped all the way back down to 30 metres from it. It was about 54, 55, wasn't it, when it got towards the top end of the bridge. You can see the sign there, and you can see where we started, which was just here with the fence there on that left hand side, so be careful not to run into that. So you're going to go through there. Now this is where I went wrong. You shouldn't be going right here, you should be going left around this sign and down. So this is where I lost maybe 1-2 seconds here, because I had to cut back onto the main course, slowing me down a little bit as well, as it was a little bit of a windy turn rather than just a nice little sweep. But yeah, so go right of that sign rather than where I went. This is now a little bit more of a downhill. You can see someone else there which is flying past us, to be fair to them, as they are going for the sprint finish towards the end. This is all in woodland, and it's still a hard standing path. I don't know, I can't remember if there's any sort of gravel. I don't think there was really, and you're not really going to slip on it if there was. I didn't notice anything like that, but we're pushing our way through now towards the tunnel. So this is the section which at the start you walk up from the tunnel through here to get to the bridge as well. So if you are late, just follow this little path and it'll take you all the way up to the bridge to the start line. But we're still doing quite well now. We're at the bottom end, so it's 18 meters elevation, and we're now heading our way back uphill towards where the tunnel is. We're doing quite well. It's 23:04. We're trying to beat 23:25. I've done quite well to push myself up this hill. See a few people there cheering you on. We turn right, and it's the final sprint finish through the Severn Bridge tunnel. Can we get onto the leaderboard? We need less than 23:25. It's going to be a close one by the looks of it. 22:23, and that is a time of 23:23 with a position of 70 seconds. So I was very happy with that run, and that one will find itself on the leaderboard. Now let's get this GoPro off me, because I am knackered. So that is Severn Bridge Parkrun complete, and we smashed it, getting a time there of 23:23. And also that is the second S which we have completed now. So if you do want to get an S for the alphabeteer challenge, this is a great one to do as well. And also it's our second S on the Slither challenge as well. We need to get 10 S's together. As usual, a massive thank you very much to all of the volunteers who were there on the day, because without them it wouldn't go ahead, and without the volunteer which was at that U-turn, everyone would still be going now as they make their way over the bridge to England. So thank you very much to them too. And also aesthetically, I'd say it is a stunning park run, I do have to say. However, it's not very adventurous, to be honest. It is literally an out there and back running across a bridge. So after about 5-10 minutes, the view is a little bit boring. You've seen it already, so it can get quite draining. You have to sort of focus on just getting the run done. It feels like it's everlasting, sort of like a Roman road, just keeps going straight, and it feels like it's never going to end. But what was great about this park run is that it is definitely PB potential. If I hadn't started as far back as I did, I may have got even higher up on the leaderboard, which we'll have a look at in just a second. So I definitely recommend this to anyone who is trying to push for their PB. There is a slight incline which potentially does slow you down, but apart from that, it is perfect conditions for one. However, even though it is a PB potential, there are a couple of pinch points which you need to look out for, and number one is obviously going to be the one that we've been through multiple times so far in this video, and that is how busy it is. So it is a busy park run, difficult to overtake at the start, and that could lose a few seconds off your time. Probably lost about 20-30 seconds off our time, to be honest. And then the second one is the U-turn at the end. Although it's only a quick U-turn, one U-turn as well, it does slow you down for a few seconds as well. So you're going to lose 1, 2, maybe 3 seconds off of that, just until you get back up to full pace. And as usual, at the end of every park run video, we go through a few tips and tricks for anyone who is thinking of attending either next week or soon. So we'll start off with the public transport then. There is a train station, Chepstow train station, which isn't too far away, and it's about a 46-minute walk or a 7-minute drive to the start line. So there is the potential there to get a taxi, or you can take a public bus. So there is the C1, C2 or C3, and they can all be taken from the centre of Chepstow town to Thornwell on Denby Drive, and then you cross over the road down to Carwent Lane, and that takes you off to the start. So that's not too difficult to get to. And finally, if the only other option is to drive, then you can drive and park at Thornwell Football Club and around that sort of area. There's quite a lot of little side roads and things like that which you can park on, and you'll probably see lots of other cars on the day parking there, because the football club is actually full at the time, so it does get quite busy with the parking. So do try and get there as early as possible. And then finally, if you enjoy a post-park run coffee like I do, it does say on the website to go and check out with the volunteer team after the park run, and they'll give you some recommendations of some of the local cafes nearby. And now we are moving back to my GoPro stats. So as you can see, it has gone up to 41 park runs complete, with the total number of locations is now 26. Best finish position stays the same, but there you go. Severn Bridge has made it onto the leaderboard there with a time of 23:23. So unfortunately, that is joint with Chipping Sodbury and Alexandra Parkrun, and Five Arches manages to hold on yet again for another week there at the bottom with a time of 23:25. But that is all there is to say about Severn Bridge Park Runs, so I hope you all enjoyed this one, and if you do have any other tips and tricks as you are one of the locals to Severn Bridge Park Run, then do make sure to let us know down in that comment section below, and if I've said anything incorrect as well, do make sure to let us know and I'll try and pin it up to the top of the comments. But if you are enjoying this sort of content and want to go and check out another one of my videos, last week we did our 25th different location, and that was there at Pontypool Park Run, so you can go check that out. Or you can go and check out all of my other park runs in my worldwide park run playlist, and that's got all the ones from Krakow, Belfast, Dublin, all of the different ones, Norway and Finland as well, so there's loads of ones to check out there. But next week we are heading off to Glastonbury, so I've been to the festival but I've never done Street Park Run, which is literally about a 10 minutes drive from Glastonbury, so we're going to be trying that one out and hopefully we can get onto that leaderboard. So I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one.